What's up, everybody? We're out here for our first subscriber stream in 2 weeks. Thursdays, we do live game analysis for the subscribers, up to 10 games that are submitted to me here on lichess. We're on lichess and on Twitch Live now, International Master William Paschall. Astrobate, we see you there. A few comments in the chat. A few emotes. I'm getting started just a couple minutes late. It's been a very, very busy day for me. Everyone's stocking up on chess lessons before the coronavirus hits. Nope, just kidding. But, well, we are ready to go. So we've got only 4 submissions. Very disappointed. 4 submissions for game analysis. Maybe I missed someone. Mr. Slowhand said, hi, Slaggy. Oh, he's got one for me. All right. Mr. Slowhand snuck one in there. Mr. Slow is number 5. Warnaki, you're on the list. LVN, Astrobate, Warnaki, and Stuk, and Mr. Slowhand were the ones that I'm aware of. Once in a while, someone sneaks in there with a submission for the analysis session here. Good to see you, WJ Loof. I can add one if you need some filler. I don't know if you've been playing enough or if you have something, worthwhile. I don't like filler. No fillers or additives whatsoever. The Russian Alpha Zero. All right, one of our new viewers. Nice to see you. Even if you can't subscribe, I appreciate when people are appreciative and regular viewers here on the stream. Just being a follower of the stream is very helpful. My losses are mostly major blunders. There's a lot to be said for analyzing your losses, I think, more so than your wins. Astrobate doesn't really submit his losses to the stream. All right, we've got WJ Loof donating 100 bits. Thank you, guys. It's appreciated. So, let's get started. First one is LVN. Our first game submission, LVN. That was actually several days ago. Read my messages, my secret messages here. LVN. Hi, a game for Thursday stream. Think it's an interesting one. So I don't really know LVN too much. From the Netherlands. Seems like a dynamic gambit style player. Alright, we've got a game here against Eric Rosen, nonetheless. Aficionado of the London system. It's kind of a stylistic, I mean, not to diss Eric Rosen, but player of the London system. Versus the interesting Gambitier. Alright, LVN is white, so thankfully we don't get to see a London system. LVN white. Rosen is black. Unfortunately, the game's been analyzed already, so I have that graph. I try to keep the graph. The graph biases me when I see that. I like to keep an open mind about what happened in the game. LVN is white. He's playing e4 against an IM. e4, g6. The modern defense is flexible. It's a very good system for trying to win against like lower rated players, I think, especially. I mean, it can be just a general repertoire as well, but I think that people in general, especially weaker players below master level, don't handle hypermodernism very well. The London system is one of the most hypermodern examples in chess. I think it's a good choice. But here Rosen plays something unusual. Knight f6. Now, I guess there's a connection with Rosen and like maybe he's a big Magnus Carlsen fan. I saw you the picture with Magnus. And he plays the London system and now this sort of hokey pseudo-Alekhine defense that Magnus has played as well. Basically, the critical test here is e5. Black could play in the style of the Alekhine, I guess, with knight d5. I don't know how bad this is. We'd have to look at this. Is this possible? c4, knight b6, c5, knight d5, Satoshi against my friend Olivarga from 1999. The question is, can black hold this? I don't know if this is really viable or not. Strange that Satoshi played knight f3 here. I would expect knight c3. This is just analysis. Probably playable for black. Anyway, black's main idea after knight f6 is that e5 will be met with knight h5. And this is... I don't know if it has a name, actually, LVN. LVN, I don't know that he's here, but he will watch the video at some point. So I don't know what this is even called. The opening doesn't even have a name. I'm not seeing a name for this. The main idea is that knight has the g7 square to go back to. Can't draw a straight line. So it's not like a standard Aliekin's defense strategy. If you try to attack that knight with like radical g4, knight g7, here Rapport Giovanna, wife of Rapport Ricard, obviously heavily influenced by Rapport himself. Black can strike back with h5 at some point, and there's a case to be made that white is on the verge of overextending themselves. So I actually like this. It's kind of interesting variation and fun. But LVN did not play the critical continuation. So e5 is really trying to put this out of business. I'm not sure how easy it is, though. Let's look at bishop e2. See, this is the secret move, d6. It's a little more active than knight g7. If you have to play knight g7, I suspect white is slightly better. It's actually played by Miles back in '96, unsuccessfully. Garcia, Ian Dane. Both those guys have passed away. Sadly, both very premature. Man, that's interesting. But bishop e2, I've seen this d6 before. That's the attempt to try to justify it. If bishop h5, here you see Antipov versus Rapport, Zhukova versus Indich. Rapport and Indich are two players who are willing to play really insane stuff. Yeah, you're not surprised by Rapport. I'm not surprised by Indich. These are players. Indich is trained by Velimirovich. He's willing to play really weird stuff. Rapport, we know. I don't know if we love him, but we know. So, gh5, queen h5, d takes e5. I just want to look at this while we're here. Man. There are games going back to 1989. There's a game from 1989. So, Indich and Rapport just picking up on this relatively recently. It's an ultra specialized opening. Well, it's not easier to wing it when you're white than when you're black, I think. But I could see this. Zhukova actually beat Indich. What'd she do? She did DE. And now queen d5. White played knight f3 and won a game. Black is down a pawn. Queen e4 check, bishop e3, queen c2. Indich is still in preparation here. Castles. And now rook g8. Improvisation. This is from 2014. Quite a long time ago. Indich was very young. Alright. But anyway, like that seems like kind of a critical line. Instead, white played bishop d3, which is just a anomalous move. We could actually transpose to some kind of King's Indian, like a Yasser variation, with bishop g7, knight c3, d6, knight e2. 89, a special year for Spielman fans. You know, Bob, that's odd, because I was thinking, like, why, on another topic, why do I underestimate Spielman's upper echelon credentials? And I was wondering if it was because maybe Jonathan Spielman reached his peak, like, right before I got into chess. Like, that would make sense. Maybe Jonathan Spielman reached his maximum like in the years preceding my entry into the chess world. 1982, 1983, was that it? Was it like 1982, 83 when he was number 4 in the world? Because that would explain a lot as to why I sort of don't have that level of respect. Because I didn't start playing in my first tournament till like 1985. 89, that's unbelievable. I could see maybe 1982 or 83. All right, but back to business here. Black played, wow, c5. Highly interesting move. But bishop d3 is non-critical. Black can play pretty much whatever he wants here. c5. A new move. Yakovenko versus Rockport. This position was reached. I like Yakovenko a lot. He wanted to bore Rockport to death with bishop d3, apparently. It worked. Rockport, 2013 already, he was 2693. I beat him in like 2010, 2011. I can't remember now. Maybe it was 2011. All right. Almost a miniature. But c5 is an interesting move by Rosen. Now we could transpose to a c3 Sicilian. After c3, surprisingly. c3 Sicilian. c3 d6 reaches the Salanci variation of the c3 Sicilian. That's what you did, c3, okay. Yeah, so now d6 would transpose to my friend's favorite line. But black can probably benefit here by not playing d6. So d5 is actually maybe not to everyone's liking because of e5. Signed. Spielman was never a Rockport. He just played weird openings, but he's actually like an endgame specialist. He just played weird openings to try to avoid mainline theory. So d5 is interesting. Knight c6 looks like he's going too far. I'm going to turn off the engine. It's just biasing my thought. But I mean, okay, this looks like a c3 Sicilian. He shouldn't play knight c6. Again, this is a normal move. It's a theoretical position. Probably CD is not that bad, although I think it favors white. But this is also okay. This doesn't look right. Now you can play d5. If knight e5, it would be an interesting question. Should white give up the bishop and just keep rolling with something like f4? Or should we play maybe like bishop e2? Can we do that? I might just lose a pawn after knight c4. So I guess bishop c2 would lead to a really strange play. I suspect black's position is shady. Those knights are too... The e5 knight is prone to being attacked. I don't trust this for black. But LVN just leans on the side of caution. Probably we should consider knight e2 as well as knight f3. cd4, cd4, d6. And now it's just another form of c3 Sicilian. A c3 d6 variation. Hello. It's more like a c3 Sicilian than anything else. It is a c3 Sicilian. So now knight c3, bishop g4. Probably not necessary to play bishop g4. I guess black can just play bishop g7 here. Pass pawn 99, welcome. Well, I mean, this is one idea behind knight e2 that might not allow bishop g4. You see here that some people have played h3. Andy Soltis. That's the point. You know, I'm not sure bishop g4 is that strong here. So h3 is like a blunder now. It looks like a blunder to me. Why don't we just play bishop e3? Liz versus Jennifer. Classic matchup. h3, bishop f3, and we just might be better off just playing a Mora gambit here and like being down a pawn after queen f3. I think I prefer this to jettisoning the kingside structure. There's some compensation for the pawn here. But I think this is too radical. After this, we're down a pawn, and our kingside is messed up. I mean, I just don't like it either way. You know, the other way we can just be down a pawn with some compensation, some slight compensation, but some. Here I feel like we're down a pawn, and we have no safe place to put our king. I don't understand the connection between Soltis and the Great and the Lord of the Rings. I'm not getting it. What is it with that? Maybe pass pawn, I'm not sure. I highly recommend his book, Confessions of a Grandmaster. He's written some lemons as well. He's a legitimately good player. I mean, not a really strong GM, but not weak either. But he's got a couple of good books to his credit. This sends black back, but again, I don't know what we're gonna do with ultimate king position. Ultimate amigo. Ultimate. Where is the white king going to go? This is kind of funny though. White got a little bit of counterplay out of the blue. Almost seems like he didn't deserve it. Did black make a mistake there? Not really. I mean, I have to be frank. If I was like Eric Rosen here, I probably would play bishop g7 and then save bishop g4 for a later date. You know, white has time to play h3, but I still think that black is okay. Like castle, castle. You can play e5. This is actually not that bad for black. Playable. It's slightly worse, but it's not that bad. It's been played. So he's trying to get away with something with a bishop g4. h3, take, check here. It's looking like we almost have something now, but maybe not. Do we have this? He played it next, like a couple moves later. The point is what? He can't take on d5. You're threatening knight b6. You're threatening... I don't know if I'd call it a threat, but you're threatening knight f6. Threatening knight b6. Black should worry about knight b6 and let the other threat go. But what move does black play here? Rook c8 or rook b8. It's not that simple. I mean, this actually looks kind of problematic for black. I'm kind of concerned. Rook c8. All right, let's do that. Still White has a problem with the king. He's never going to be able to safely castle kingside. But I would assume like something like this, maybe bishop f4. It doesn't look that bad, you know, because now black's extra pawn isn't all that healthy. That's about the best black can do, though. But I feel like this is a mistake to play bishop f4. Looks like he's trying to play e5. And also mobilize rook d1. Is it too slow, though? I think knight h5 helps black. We still got that move later on. What about h3 later on, hanging? And now he's going to play bishop c6. Bishop c6, bc6, queen c6. Now, queen h3. It comes down to white king not being safe, you know. It's cute tactic and all that, but we don't have to play queen takes c6. There's still a problem. King e2, only move. And I don't know that white even has a threat here. In this position, I don't think there's even a threat. Material is equal. The black king is safe, the white king is not safe. That's all you need to know. That's basically all that counts. The b file is exceedingly dangerous. If the queens were to get traded, maybe white would be okay. This is cute, but only mildly improves white's position. This is the first time white has been anywhere near to okay. In the endgame, I'm still concerned about the fact that black has a protected passed pawn on the h file. I wonder if he could have done better now. I guess there's no choice, huh? Knight f5 check. Can we look at knight f5 check? Does that even do anything? Doesn't do anything. Extremely strong knight here, paired with this protected passed pawn. I think still black is winning. Or very, very close to winning. Overall, a good game by Rosen. Rook a d1, h5. I mean, I don't think we can survive in most endgames. The queenside majority is our only chance. If we were to trade knights with like knight here, how about that? I mean, even like g5 might be winning for black. I can't imagine white can survive. This is an interesting point now. This is no longer a protected passed pawn. Well, I mean, it is if black plays g5. The story of the game is white's king. You can't take because of rook c3 check. Or you can. You can. Yeah, I mean, I think this is time related, but Rosen is misplayed now. Has misplayed. It feels like for the first time white has legitimate chances to draw. I guess he has rook a2 though, rook c2. Is this definitely a win? This pawn has got to be eliminated. h4. h4, rook f2, king h4, rook f4 check. Any two connected passed pawns should win. If we play this, I don't like this. But maybe white has a move here, I don't know. Looks like it's lost. Rook f4 check, king g3. This should be... That should be over. As long as black doesn't lose the a pawn. I don't know. Rook there, knight d5, knight e6. Maybe black has better. g5. He didn't want to allow white maybe a knight e7, knight f5 or something. This was a tough game, but I don't think that black was ever really not close to winning. Except for the opening. After our critical continuation, I want to take a quick look. Apparently this is a draw now. King g4. So f3, rook g2. It's easy for the computer to say that, but I don't think this was that easy for black to find over the board. Rook a2 is a very natural move. The engine thinks like this is winning. Yeah, g5. He missed g5. Ooh. This is the idea. Protect the pass pawn on h4. And the white rook can't really go marauding because that pawn's too far advanced. It cuts off the white king. That was harder to see in blitz. Time control. And now white has enough counterplay to draw. Good job. This is a draw, but you need to bring the king back to g2. That's not the right square for the white king to be on. This is very bad technique. We want to be probably like around here. The minute the pawn hits the 7th rank, we need our king on g2 to draw this position. And now we can't reach it, so we're lost. King f2. Now the black king can try to maybe get down here or something. Now he's just lost. But for a moment it was a clear draw, as you can see. If we go back to this position here, this is LVN against Eric Rosen. I mean, honestly, at this point, when we get to this position, take, you have to give passing thought to taking this pawn. I'm just not sure about this. It's a draw. This would be like lower risk than letting him stay with that A pawn. Not an easy draw though, because the pawns are separated. If this pawn was like on G3 or F3, directly in front of the other two pawns, it would be easy to draw. You have to be a little bit careful here. But I still would rather trade those off than leave him with that A pawn. You know, I think that's a practical mistake. Even though this is a draw, it's like a harder draw to achieve. First of all, I would probably want to like cut his king off and bring my king back here. This is like, let's see, this position. You could box him in with e5. And the point is, like, as long as this pawn is on the 7th rank, our rook can actually do something like capture on f7. Our rook isn't tied down to the A pawn until the moment it hits the 7th rank. And then we can like erect a passive defense with king g2. Anyway, long analysis for this. Sad loss. Time related. And the evil black player wins in this king and pawn game. Thanks, LVN. Alright. One last thing before we go on to the next game, though. That position where he played bishop e5 in the opening, I just want to double check that here with the computer. This is really interesting. So how Rosen here played queen e7, which is totally human, what most people would have done. This isn't actually the best. Yeah, this stream is analysis. Sorry, no simuls. That's on Sunday. Bishop g7 is an interesting defense. Knight d7 is interesting defense. So is it possible that after queen d7, white has enough compensation? And knight d5. LVN missed this move. This is my idea, that maybe he has enough now. Let's see, this is what we looked at. Rook c8, and we said knight takes f6. And I said something like bishop f4. The problem is the white king is still never ultimately going to be that safe. But I think this is the best practical try. Most likely, this bishop f4 is inaccurate. After bishop f4, bishop h5, sorry, knight h5. Wow. Do you see this move, knight d5 he has? I don't think I would have seen this. How does this even work? Knight d5, knight f4, knight b6 is actually playable. Wow. That is a cool idea. So, black actually had a hollow threat of knight takes f4. You still could have played this. That's cool. But it looks like this should have been played straight up. Rook c8 and bishop e3, a6, bishop e2, according to the engine. I'm not in love with that. I'd rather just take on f6 and damage black's structure. Then maybe bring the bishop back. Black is still better, though, because of the white king. If I could castle queenside and put my king on b1, maybe white would be okay. We can't cross the c file, and there's no safe place on the king side. Okay, I've got another submission from WJ Loof. Just analysis. Just bullet chess. Who sees that kind of lunacy? No, I mean, I think I could see it. You know, I think I could see it. This was the critical position, though. Somehow you have to know that this is the critical moment and really devote your time to this one key position. But figuring out like when the key position in an opening or in a game is not that easy. There's an incredible amount of tension right now, and it feels like LVN had something going on with the queen a4 idea. I don't know what else black could have done, though. You know, this is a very interesting position. After bishop b5, how the engine found like this is actually a better defense. Knight d7 is a better defense than playing queen d7. That's hard to find, man. I mean, it looks awfully passive for black. Not easy. So, practical compensation for white. Alright. But, I mean, h3 was reckless by white, you know. We just played bishop e3. Totally normal move. Like Lizzie. Lizzie who crushed her emissary. Her weaker emissary. Much weaker. Alright, so we got Warnacki up next. Warnacki. The Warlock. Greetings there, wise master. Today I brought thee a 5-0 game that features a line I have been facing a lot, and I welcome recommendations on how to play. I'm here to give recommendations. The Zook retort opening, Grunfeld reversed. Oh. This looks familiar. I had some games with Imre, one of our subscribers. Imre, Bard Imre. He's been playing stuff like this with h6 against me. Warnacki's white. He made one mistake. So, let's take a look. d4, d5, knight f3, and it's a Catalan. And then c5. c5, bishop g2, knight c6, standard reverse Grunfeld, castles. So h6. When was the last time you saw someone play h3 on the white side of the Grunfeld? The Grunfeld is a sharp opening where the play opens up in the center. Usually very quickly. And when you have open positions, there's no time for moves like h3, a3, a6. 6. 3, a6, a3, 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 a6 Barty Imre played some games against me with such a plan recently, playing h6 unnecessarily. When you see this move, there should be a red flag. And anytime you play the Grunfeld, or the Grunfeld reversed, as is the case here, you must open the game. I mean, this is the main idea, to play c4. You didn't actually know you were playing a Grunfeld. You can call it what you want. Call it the Catalan. Call it the Catalan. Call it a closed queen pawn game. I don't know what you want to call it, but the point is, like, you want to lever this diagonal. This pawn is in the way of your bishop owning the board. And it's like a hinge. You know, the c4 is like a door hinge. I mean, this just opens it up. When you play c4, you're going to pry open the whole long diagonal. Now, if black plays a normal move here, knight f6, the effect isn't quite as strong. But if black is going to linger with their king in the center, and a move like h6, just magnifying the strength of this move, you got to go with c4. There is no other move. Just absolutely. I mean, maybe like you could play b3, you know, but ultimately, like, the plan would still be to play for c4. You really have no choice. When you play something like this, anything with the fianchetto setup, any kind of d4 Catalan with the fianchetto setup, you got to really play for c4. Because ultimately, otherwise your bishop is just dead against that pawn on d5. The other option, obviously, would be to play e4. If there was some way you could play e4, that's another way to open the game. Just, it's not easy to achieve. You don't have any control over e4, you know? You played a crazy move here, and it might not be that bad. It's just not as good as the best move. Knight e5. Opens up the bishop, but without the c4 pawn to really coordinate, you know, you're not going to get enough pressure. So knight takes d4, and now black's still lingering in development. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you have compensation for this pawn now. Yesterday or the other day, I had a game against Alms. If you want to compare this to my game with black against Alms, we had the Grunfeld, d4, knight f6, c4. I played the Grunfeld with black. Knight c3, d5, knight f3, bishop g7. Wow, Mr. Sohan donated 2,000 bits for crystal clear reasoning. Wow, man, thank you. But bishop g5, knight e4, I played the sacrifice. Knight takes g5, knight takes g5 castles. And after knight f3, I played c6. And once he takes his pawn, I no longer have a c5 break, right? But I have this. I have this e5 break. And we had this literal game, d5, e4. This was following, I think there was an old game, actually. All the way I had compensation. It's totally correct. But you have to find a way to open that bishop. Otherwise, you don't have compensation for the sacrificed pawn. I think you can do something like that here in this position. If we flip it back. Mr. Sohan, amazing donation. Takes the lead in the bit donations. Infinite Flash earlier in the week got a new job, donated 1,500 bits. Mr. Jim. I don't know if Mr. Jim is here today. He donated 480 this week. Arsenal fan with a gift sub. Thank you guys. Huge donation from Mr. Slowhand. We've got his game coming up soon. But, alright, h6 here. You sacrifice the pawn speculatively, whatever. Alright, now c3. The first thing we need to think about here is going back to our original plan of c4. And the second thing we need to think about here is the break against the center with e4. The theme is obvious, you know, destroying his center. So I think this is viable. And this is probably the #1 candidate move. You wanted to get the knight off of d4, but I suspect it's just too slow, you know? Can we look at the engine? c3 is the best move according to the engine. No, it's changing its mind. What about c4? Problem is our undefended knight on e5. e5, I was worried about this. The bishop d6. f6 is no problem because of knight g6. So if we play c4, he can play bishop d6. Now we have to... This is awkward. Like here, drops the pawn with d takes c. Yeah, I mean, e4 is very similar. We're going to have the same problem with bishop d6, and then no good place to put the knight. This is probably not that bad. I mean, you could even play like c4, bishop d6, f4. It's not good, but it's not that bad. So interesting. You played here, black plays back, you take it, and then you played bishop f4. But I mean, you have to attack his center. You know, you're playing like without pawn breaks. This file, I understand you played bishop f4. You blocked rook b8 out as a possibility. But I think these pawn breaks are the only chance, man. One of these breaks to play e4 or c4. Bishop f4. Without pawn breaks, you're just going to be down a pawn here. There it is, finally. e4. It's a little bit late, you know, and black's up a pawn here. So, for example, rook b8. Let me turn this off. Key 1 is reasonable, threatening the fork. Short simul. I don't do short simuls. That equates to playing bullet chess. There's only one way to do a simul, the right way, Bob. Rook e1 castles, and he dropped a piece with e5. Alright, so black must take a timeout, obviously, to play like queen c7, circumvent this. Yeah, and maybe you have still some play, like take, c4. White might just have enough compensation to equalize here. Oh, with fewer people. Maybe you're right. I should probably consider doing it on a different day, though. Your suggestion will be noted. Knight f6, rook e1, queen c7, losing a piece. So at this point now we have 8 pawns against 6. Black is down a piece. It should be lost. Trading pieces is good. I like it. Black has the massive armada, though. That's like spiraling out of control. Was there any way we could circumvent that before it really, you know, arose? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is maybe queen e2, just to control e5. I'm a little concerned about the center being kind of difficult to deal with. But it's pinch point. Don't get your hand caught in the door, Bob, on your way out. There is a very good chance getting your finger stuck in the door. I'll sharpen up the O, yeah. Yeah, this looks like this is it, man. Bishop e6, knight c3, and it's all starting to come unglued. If he can't maintain the wholesomeness of his pawn structure, then he's lost. And that's it now. We've got knight c3. Okay, there's still a chance for black here. f5. The wholesomeness factor. Can he maintain this pawn structure? That's the problem. If you play d4, knight a4, knight takes c5, that's what happens. Yeah, so the last chance for black is, I guess, bishop e6. There's still nothing you can do about the c5, though. I guess if black didn't have doubled pawns, there is some chance he could put up some extended resistance. There's still a very strong pass pawn here, but I think we're getting to the point now where white can actually just sacrifice a piece back after we pick off the c5. Now we're at the realistic stage where we could even sacrifice a piece back for 2 pawns and win. So he just blundered. No, I mean, black could still put up some resistance here. g5. Let's say g5, rook d1. You know, even if you just sack the piece, like a5, knight takes d3, pawn takes d3, bishop takes c6, it's over. White will be like 2 pawns up. This is probably what you should do. 1 pawn is kind of marginal, but 2 pawns up should be an easy one. But he was a little bit lucky, so knight takes d3. Yeah, I mean, that was bad. You know, knight e5. Efficiency in the opening. Knight e5 is actually a key idea in some positions, but not that one. I mean, you know what I get a lot of people who play in this system? Like an early bishop g4. Basically, I'll play something like, okay, knight f3. How would we get there? Like knight c6 or something? How do we get this reverse Grunfeld? Alright, just c5, e6 now. Knight f6 maybe, g3, c5, castles, bishop g2, knight c6. This is one position, for example. Castles. Now here, I had this once, this horrible game I lost from winning position, but here now knight e5 is actually really, really strong. If you compared this to where you played knight e5, I mean, knight e5 in the case where I can take this, a reverse of my games with Ahms that I just showed you. Embarrassingly, I lost the position from this position once against a Chinese guy. I mean, I couldn't believe that black was trying to play like they were white. You can't play like you're white when you're black. I mean, you're a tempo down. So, cd4, knight g4, and then we can even play like e4. Look at this. ed5, knight d5, c3. Dynamic. e6. And then we're coming with knight c3 next, I guess. I think white is better. Unopposed bishop on a long diagonal. A lot of pressure. Alright. But I like the reverse Grunfeld. It's a good opening. This particular move order, castles, h6. It's a horrible move. When you see the opponent, it's like I show Asterbait all the time. When you see the opponent make a slow move in a position where it can open up, this is where Asterbait gets it all the time in the Joko. Like, people go h6 here. You can't do that in a position where the thing is about to blow open. And I had to teach Asterbait that you don't do moves like d3 when people play h6. I mean, when they start making these crazy, luxurious moves like h6, the whole thing is you take it to them, you open the game. Bang. You know, you open the game as fast as possible. Whatever you have to do, even like sacrifice a pawn. Yeah. That's the key. You know, you just go at them as fast as possible. h6 is irrelevant, you know. It stops knight g5, but it does nothing for black's development. And the same thing in your game. When you see a slow move in a position that can get opened up, open it up. So, I mean, this obviously isn't going to work, but this is the only other option. Look for your pawn breaks, execute. You know, it's simple and efficient. I mean, with knight e5, you're actually moving the same piece twice. You know, you need an excuse to move the same piece twice. It's not something you should do routinely. The excuse in other variation is bishop g4, the line I was just showing you guys. If black's going to put a bishop on g4, then you have an excuse to play knight e5. But here you're just basically moving the same piece twice without an excuse. Okay, Stuk is up next. Mr. Stuk. Waiting for Bob's submission. One of Bob's games. One of your recent games, Bob. Maybe you have a match with Tushar you'd like to share with us. Where's your subscriber account? Where is Stuk? Where is Stuk? Must be more recent. There it is. Game sub. How do you guys feel about the new lichess messaging system? You like to change it to a game you played, to a game played by Arsenal? Isn't there a saying, no breaks, no plan? I'd never heard that. But it's a good concept, Mr. Slowhand. I'm sorry, I left Asterbait out. He's like, don't forget me. Sorry, man. We forgot you. You're so quiet. You never type anything into the chat. Notice the first page of chat. Alright. In the event that my submitted cheapo is too cheap, may I offer another? I am, of course, as black. Check out Stockfish mate in 15. I didn't think that Stockfish was capable of calculating a mate in 15. It's usually like around depth 22. Which means it can only see like mate in 11. Alright. Rapid chess. LDV versus Asterbait. We'll do Stuk's game next. In defense. Sorry, Mr. 325 from Dominican Republic. I have to decline. I respectfully decline your challenge. Please come back tomorrow. Guys, tomorrow, Friday, 5 plus 3. 11 a.m. Alright. E4, B6. Knight F3. Knight F3 is technically inaccurate against the Owen defense. You should really play D4. Bishop B7, now D3. Alright, if you're going to play this King's Indian attack anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought he was going to try to play something testing. So D3, alright. Now it's a matter of taste, but you've got E6, C5, G6, and that's about it. The only three moves I would seriously consider here, C5, E6, and G6. Maybe Knight F6 isn't bad, and that's about it. Someone played D5. Andy Soltis, of all people. 1977, we had just brought him up. It's a creative move, the D5. Against another New York City regular, Bernard Zuckerman. Zuckerman must be still alive. I don't think I ever met Zuckerman. He was kind of legendary, though. These are Fischer generation players. I kind of like D5, but I don't think it's objectively, that great. You would probably induce, like, pawn takes pawn, and then knight c3, I would expect, and have to waste a tempo, but guarantee that the diagonal for your bishop would be open. It is an interesting idea, and I don't think it's necessarily that bad. On the other hand, like, white could just maintain his center with like knight d2. But I'm surprised here that Soltis took with the queen. He wants to do some kind of Magnus Carlsen thing with like queen d7, it looks like. He did queen e6 check. That's just weird. I was thinking here. Then you're prone to getting hit by knight e5. I don't like queen takes. I would take with the bishop. Maybe that defeats the purpose. Okay, anyway. Bishop b7, so d3 is c5. Asterbate is playing the Sicilian at this point. You can't really stay within the Owen defense if White is going to play like d3. Wow, this must be like one of Adorian's last games of all time. 1995. I mean, I swear to God, I've seen the guy, like, I first saw him in 1996, and I don't think I ever remember a case of him actually playing chess since I first saw him in 1996. He's basically completely retired for 25 years. That's funny, though. There's a game from 95. I know this guy with White, too. He plays really weird openings. He would always play, like, d3 on move 1. He's an expert. He's an expert with 1d3. The d3 man. g6. I like this. Basically, Asterbate is playing like a Dorian. And oddly enough, I was talking to Asterbate about the Marazzi today. White now adopts the Marazzi. I mean, this is a problem, in case you couldn't guess it. Would you guys believe it if I told you this is the second example I've seen of Asterbate not taking a hanging e-pawn today? He has a tendency to play the opening too fast. What if we look into seriously? And you tried to argue that okay, well, White will have compensation. If bishop takes e4, he gains time attacking my pieces with knight c3. What does black do here? No, it probably wouldn't be insane to suggest like knight f6, but I don't trust it. What I don't really like is this. I don't like playing the Benoni when my bishop gets suffocated on b7 with the pawn on d5. I don't really like the look of this. So I think we have to go for bishop takes f3, queen f3, and then knight c6. Aiming at d4. d5, knight d4, queen somewhere, and black is up a pawn, essentially. Queen d1 or queen d3. White has spatial compensation for the pawn, but I don't think it's enough. Black. I would choose black over white in this position. That's probably the best. But Asterbate, you must take this pawn, man. You're letting your opponent get away with murder here. You're just automatically responding. Now it's like a kind of hedgehog. A wedge hog. It's almost possible to transpose to a normal hedgehog, but it seems like someone's down a tempo. So, knight f6, bishop d3. Here's an interesting debate. While we're going to debate stuff on Analysis Stream, Grandmaster Shuba Mihai makes the case that sometimes, and I highly recommend his book, his awesome book, Dynamic Chess Strategy, sometimes it's better not to attack the queen in these instances with knight c6. Could we make the case that we're forcing, a piece that's in an exposed position to move out of its exposed position? Could we make the case this is actually a mistake? We're forcing White to make a constructive move that he'll probably have to make later anyway. But what we're doing is we're ending up with our knight stuck on c6, which is a problem in the hedgehog and the Queen's Indian a lot. It gets in the way of the bishop. It gets in the way of the rook when you play rook c8 here. So what I'm wondering is, can we go ahead and play like bishop g7? Or maybe, something along those lines, like d6. with the idea of bishop g7, ultimately, white will probably have to move the queen anyway, losing time. And we can, in the meantime, develop the knight to like d7. Or even like Suba style, knight a6, knight c5, like an example game he gave in modern chess, dynamic chess strategy. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of times people automatically make this move, and I think we should be more thoughtful about it. You do have an interesting move, though, possibly knight b4 in some positions. This position in particular, because he also could have gone to c3. So I would predict that if this were the game, Astrobate would probably play e6, going for the bishop e4 cheapo. Probably not a good move, but I'm thinking this, and this. Maybe we can hit that bishop and ultimately bring down pressure on e4. White would play knight c3, and even moves like bishop h6 are interesting. Trading stuff. Okay, anyway. So queen e3, bishop g7, bishop d2. And my tactics sensor went off. Astrobate found it. Kapling. Normally I don't like, grabbing sort of poisoned pawns, but that's a whole rook on a1 that could go very quickly. So this looks good. I was expecting queen f4, the engine's favorite square. Queen g5, and now you didn't pull the trigger on bishop takes b2. Bishop takes b2, bishop c3. That's a bit of a problem. If you do this, this, and your knight's hanging, you have to calculate pretty far here. Possibly black has a move. I don't know what, though. What do we do now? If knight e6 were getting kind of pushed back by e5, I'm not in love with this. This is a little bit concerning. White might be better. I was hoping to play f6 somehow. I was even looking at this. Knight takes e5, f6. That obviously doesn't work because of knight takes c6. Does black have a move here? Nothing special. White has compensation for the pawn in this line. It's interesting. Could Astrobate's instinct so you just have to do bishop a1. I get it. So the point is here, now you have to play knight f6. It's still a little scary for black, admittedly. It's starting to look like the first game we looked at, the Magnus Carlsen, Eric Rosen defense. It's fine if you're a computer or a very strong human, but this position could easily, like, h5, a5. So Astrobate decided to err on the side of caution. Sensible. I can't criticize you for this. What's up, someone on sound? You came at the perfect moment. Astrobate's opponent started dropping pieces. Up until now, a very interesting position. But now it goes over the edge, so. I guess 95, 95, bishop. I want to say bishop e2, but again, the e4 pawn drops. So white has to play something like very stupid here. I don't know. Actually, this is just screwed for white. I don't think white has a move. Queen e3. White is just lost. This is hanging, this is hanging, this is hanging. I think it's all lost. A second pawn. Actually, it'd be the first pawn. Alright, he could sack a pawn, I guess. Bishop here. Bishop takes e4. Castles. How bad can that be? The only way to fly, right? We're down a pawn, but we got some open files. He's got to try that. He dropped a piece instead. Acerbate. It was challenging after this. Knight takes d3 check. King d2. Slight problem for white. I would have played knight takes f2. Threatening knight e4. I'm surprised you were able to control yourself. Bishop takes, king takes, of course. And now knight f2 anyway. Threatening the fork. White is just not even in the ballpark here. Martin Kessler, you can send a game. Yeah, we're still short. Otherwise known as Blizzard. No bullet games, please. It has to be at least a 3-minute game for me to accept it. Asterby's having fun now. b5, check. Oh no. Castle queenside. Best way to defend the rook. Asterby, do you have knight b4 check here? Why? Is this not good? Why is this not good? I guess ultimately, you know, ooh. He's still not easy to finish off here. So I guess you're going to have to castle queenside after all. All right. BC. Be seeing you. Man, it looks like you have... It looks like you have to be a little careful about your own king. This is strong enough. He actually castled. It's a short castle. Man, it looks like something's gonna happen here. Bishop takes e4 check. Oh, you saw it. Nice. King a1. Knight d3. I can... Somebody please send me a message. Because my Windows... Why does it matter, actually? I can do that, dude. It's no problem. I can probably copy and paste that. But I used to stream with 2 different computers. Alright, queen d4, knight takes c1, queen e4, d5. This is just... Oh no. You need some sort of smothered mate aspect. Where is it? This is just too routine. Murderous. Can't watch. Thank you. I'm glad it's over. Oof. All right, Asterby. Next time we're gonna see one of your close losses. These Asterby wins are getting kind of overwhelming. Although the opening was interesting, you know, it's usually too much of a whitewash. All right, so we got Stuk up next. You actually said you're gonna submit what, Stuk? Let me grab that. Copy. I'm gonna just put this Blizzard game in there. What do I have to do? I have to open a new window. Yeah, easier if somebody... That's not gonna work, but I can't copy and paste the study. Somebody copy that, please, and send me it in a message on lichess. Somebody copy Martin Kessler's link there. Send it to me in a message. Maybe that would be better. Then it will open automatically. I can't think of another workaround. I'd have to open another window, and it's just annoying. All right, anyway, we got some games before that. Stuk. Where's the game, dude? Is this it? Guess the move 19? England Gambit? Is this the game you meant to send, Stuk? You need to be a subscriber to send in a game. Yeah. Alright. So is this... What is this game? You mentioned Arsenal fan. You're joking. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Are you white or black here? 50 some extra bits for your thoughts. My brain is numb. There are no thoughts in my brain. It's gonna take a lot of bits, man. I don't think there's a... It's been a long day. Doing the best I can. Which thoughts in particular, Mornaki? I mean, your game was interesting. We didn't get to your game yet. Yes, we did. We did your game already. Alright, I'm confused. So you're black. Cool. England Gambit. I bet this is the next level that someone on sound goes to. Savali Golubov is actually playing this. Oh, that's sick. I played e4 knight h6 against that guy. Anyway. Surprised he's not playing that. Knight h6 might be better than e5. Let's see. Knight h6 is plus 1.4 according to the engine. I think that's an exaggeration. e5 plus 1.5. See, it's close. Knight h6 is truly better than e5. Alright, Asterbait can send me that. When you get a chance, send me that game, please. I'm not going to, like, defend e5 as a sound move, but someone on sound probably likes it. I'm trying to think if anyone has ever played this against me in an over-the-board game. Club players. I've seen it played. I knew a kid who used to play it who was like 2100. But I never actually faced this opening myself in a rated game, I don't think. Blitz, definitely. It's reasonable in Blitz. Fast Blitz. It's like The Godfather. You know, you can't refuse the England Gambit. But if you are going to refuse it, I mean, you've got to at least probably play either e3... Maybe the Dunst opening isn't so bad. This, I don't even know what this is. Probably not that bad. If you're not going to take it, I mean, c3 is obviously boredom. But, yeah, I mean, so the pre-move. That's why I said my friend Zlatko Linčić plays e5 against the Pierts. The strongest move in bullet against the Pierts is e5. I don't know if Blizzard knows that, but if people play the Pierts, you should play e5. Zlatko spent all this time explaining to me, like, if they don't take the pawn, if they take the pawn, it's not that bad, you know. If they take the time to play, it's not that bad. You can get some compensation for white here. Obviously, you're hoping that like black goes knight f6 and you just hack their knight off. Ridiculous, like grandmasters to be thinking about stuff like this. So d4, e5, c4, e takes d4, knight f3. You know what? I wanted to make this type of gambit work myself, but it's just not good enough. I mean, it's like a Scandinavian with knight f6, except for the fact that you played c4. And that's actually a big problem. I'm surprised that I would think the England Gambit would be the ultimate bullet opening. I'm surprised that the engine actually thinks that white is almost okay after this move. So knight c6 isn't testing enough. What about welcome? I thought I saw some. Oh, Ready Band just joined, subscribed. You played a funny blitz game against Anna Maya. I don't know anything about that player. New to me. But I see that it's titled Woman Master. Ready Band. Funny blitz game and an interesting exchange sacrifice. Okay, I can probably get to that game. That's probably enough for today. But it's going to be a little while till we get to that. Black has to try to hold on to the pawn, I would think. I mean, knight c6 is too much of a concession. You're letting white get into a normal opening now. c5, it reminds me of like the Grand Prix attack with f4, d5 or something. This looks like a reversed. But it's not. c5, e3. White has enough compensation. Interesting. This gets the bishop outside the pawn chain first, and so on bishop d2 we exchange. So this is a tough call for white, but I guess queen takes. And then c5, e3. It seems like this would be the best try for black to kind of maintain the extra pawn. The critical test, let's say. Still not that easy, so Stuk decided to just play normal moves. We transpose to an English here. Knight takes d4. The Rachmaninoff system. Rachmaninoff, he's like the only person in the world who plays c4, e5, knight f3, the reverse Nimzovich. It's his calling card. This is just not right. You can't do that in any Sicilian-esque English type position. It's not good. Not good to play knight takes d4. So any number of moves are okay for black here. Knight f6, bishop e4 check. Any number of two moves are good for black here. You could even play other moves like g6, but that's second rate. Bishop c5 I'm not sure about. But bishop e4 check and knight f6. Here is a clear mistake. Queen takes d4. Ali Ivanov, my good friend. I don't think that my Ivanov would play this. Knight f6. Queen f6. Queen f6 is very weird and artificial. Knight f6 is an improvement on the theory there. But white is better now. I guess he should probably consider bishop g5, getting the bishop outside the pawn chain. Knight c3 is a good move. White probably loses his opening advantage by playing e3 here. Black can equalize with d5 on the move. This is the key square. If white loses control of d5, he loses his opening advantage. This is too passive for white. Bang! Equality. Now there's one chance, maybe like knight c3 for white, and if you take on c4, he goes to an ending. The ending's not so bad. Maybe white's a little better there. So knight c3 would seem kind of important. I guess knight c3, bishop e6. Black's still equal. That's gotta be best play. This has been played. Bodhi Roga. I love that name. It rhymes. Totally equal. So what did you do? d5, bishop e2. Okay. Bishop e2 is interesting. Do we play bishop e6? Do we play like c6? Bishop e6. This is lame. cd5. You're threatening d takes c4 now. No, bishop e6 is an excellent move. Maybe bishop f3 is combative. Actually, you're threatening c5 now. But bishop f3, bishop f3, c6. I don't know which way you should recapture. I suspect like queen takes d5, although it's not very fun. It's only equal. You might end up losing time here. See, he's going to play knight c3 with gain of time. I mean, objectively, you should play queen takes, maybe even knight takes. And this is just equal. Probably something like this. Maybe white's even a little harder to play with that bishop on c1. It's an oddly shaped beer glass. It's not a beer glass. You caught me. But it's useful. It's a wine-shaped beer glass. Guilty as charged. Drinking beer out of a wine glass. cd5, bishop d5, castles, bishop d6, knight e2, d2. Not a very interesting pawn structure. I kind of like rook e8 now, hoping he hangs his queen, fighting for the center. I understand you don't want to trade queens, but I mean, I think this is more macho. You know, we don't move stinking pawns. I like rook e8 a little bit better than c5. c5 is okay. Maybe queen d3 for white, staying in the area. He's going to drop a piece there, never mind. He doesn't have a really good square. It looks like he has to play queen h4. Queen c3, I guess, is the next closest. Maybe this is the human move, queen a4. Trying to get back to c2. I guess queen c3 is the same difference. So this position, I mean, he could set up a fianchetto with the queen on the battery. You know, that's not bad. It's objectively equal. There's our rook move. And now white really played super conservatively, maybe even too passive with knight d2. Probably here he needs to just focus on developing the rest of his pieces. It looks like b3 and bishop b2. After b3, I mean, black is a little bit better, but I don't think it's enough to realistically win against strong play by white. It's probably equal. Engine's giving you plus 0.2. It's plus something for black, but not enough to win if white is alert. This is suspiciously passive. We're very close to bishop takes h2 check, king takes h2, queen h4 check, king g1, rook e6, or something like that. Does it work? Bishop h2, king g1, sorry, king h2, queen h4 check, king g1, rook e6, knight e4, rook h6, f3, and I think you're busted. So it's not going to work. I mean, I would already cheer for the brony. I would already be looking at this stuff, like seriously. Bishop takes, king h2, queen h4 check. Sadly, it's not enough. Just a fantasy. But we're close. We're getting there. We're one or two moves away from this thing actually working. All right, knight f6. Yeah, that's the problem. Maybe you're forcing it too much with knight f6, though. I don't imagine it's a bad move. I would be inclined to just make another developing move, but what do? Queen h4? Queen h4 is interesting. There he has g3. Only a draw if you sacrifice twice on g3. Could that work? I mean, is it possible he'll fall for some sort of g3 and get annihilated? And that's not going to work. No. We can't do it. You know, we have to play some mundane move here. I mean, I think a lot of people would approach this position differently than used to. You might just say, hey, I have a queenside majority. I'm not going to play for mate. I'm just going to like further my program on the queen side and try to win by nature of these like queenside pawns somehow. You know, I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but it doesn't look like enough, you know, for black. So I can't blame you. Now we're looking at it real hard. Is it enough? Bishop h2, knight g4 check. He's going to have to play king h3 or g3. And then queen g5, f4, and walk away. I'm skeptical of bishop h2 here, but it's very close to working. The problem seems to be, yeah, even king h3. I just don't think it's enough, again. So you held your fire. That's an ugly move. That is an ugly move, f4. I mean, you do that in like the last resort for white, literally. f4 is last resort. He's got to have something better than that. I mean, even like queen f5. I mean, that's got to be better. Although here, like, this starts to be annoying. Probably b5. Although I'm not sure. Probably b5. So, well, I mean, now it's just positionally bad for white. He's lost the e4 square. He's backward for the rest of his life on the e line. You don't have to checkmate him now. It's just a strategic advantage. I don't even think knight g4 is the right move. I think you just shift gears to I'm just better positionally. Maybe something like b5. Is that a problem because of this, with like two pawns attacked simultaneously? Is that really a problem? I'm not like really sure how you can defend both those pawns. But probably you'd have compensation if he tries to take this one. I mean, this does look pretty sick. I don't like the look at this. Black has to be clearly better. I'm skeptical of knight g4. If he just plays h3, what's your deal? That's the move, b5. b5, and probably, you know, most people would do this, and then you just slay a6. I called it. This is just too dangerous. White is behind in development. His knight's on a3. You know. It's actually really instructive. So still quite wrong with this move, and white doesn't play h3. It's a massive mistake. Is rook... Yeah, rook d1 is... still, even this may be survivable. Oh no. So this is the secret point. Wow. No one saw bishop takes f4 except for you. Wow. I get the mate on e1, but I'm not sure about the other one. So you're going to have to convince me here. H takes G. Queen. H takes G. Bishop H2 check. King F1. Can someone show me the way? Is this sound? I'm not quite sure about this. Check. King F1. Check. King H2. Blake, let me see. Check. Check. You know, interestingly here, in this exact position, if white captures on f4, it's perpetual with rook e1 check. So I'm thinking the best move for black is actually b5 right now. If you play b5 now, there's an idea of bishop h2, king f1, rook e6. I have mostly been looking at queen h2. This move makes a lot of sense. That's popping up in other variations. When rook f6 would be winning if it was black's turn. But white still has potential defenses. Not easy though. I mean, obviously it looks pretty nasty. Knight d2. Knight d2 coming here. I don't see a mate. But black has compensation. The engine says black's winning on bishop g3. This is cool. But apparently there's an easier way to do this. Wow. So it totally works. King f1 and bishop g3. It's surprising. It's surprising how strong this attack is. There's just no way out. The game. If you guys want to see a link to this game, this is a cool position. Yeah, I didn't appreciate how strong that attack really is. I think I would have taken the knight, you know, and taken my chances. It's apparently totally winning. Nice job, man. Bishop takes f4. I think even strong, really strong players would miss that. That is a brutal move. Absolute credit for that. I really didn't think it would be enough. But I think that white, you know, f4 was a terrible move, but I think that white really needs to blame himself for just generally not developing the bishop on c1. I mean, this had to be played like b3 and bishop e2. You have to play that quickly. Nice game, Stook. All right, so now we got Mr. Slow, WJ, Loof, Blizzard, and Ready Ban. All right. We've got 50, no, we've got more. What time did we start? At 6:30. Yeah, we got 50 minutes left. Time's flying. Got like almost an hour left. Enough for 4 more games. Mr. Slow, hi. Game. Oh, he's got he's got the link, but it's not an actual link. For 2,000 bit donation. I can copy and paste. Alright. We didn't even have to copy and paste. Open link. That was a good job, man. Stuk is playing better. Played a really nice game against me a couple weeks ago. Was the only winner in one of our simuls. Bishop takes f4 is a brutal move. Just like White thought he was okay. Alexander Donchenko. What is this game that we're looking at? Wrong game. That's the answer. Your fault or mine? There's multiple games here. All right. So EL reminds me of this friend of mine took a phone message from me once. He was taking a message from this guy named Ariel. But he didn't understand that the guy's name was Ariel, like the mermaid. I came home and there was this message. Like R period, E period, L period, called. I was like, what? E period, L period. Blobix subscribed for 10 months. He's now an unofficial founder. So this is the correct game. Las Vegas Open. Is that a tournament? The Las Vegas Open? You mean like the National Open? It's in June? Alright. Astrobate is now like a chess promoter. Mr. Slowhand is white. E4, E6. Any information about this opponent? Mr. Slowhand actually plays the French. But this game allowed you to win the tournament. So facing your own defense can be an advantage. Although I think that it depends, you know. I have more insights into openings that I play, but at the same time, it's still not always easy playing against your own opening. Alright, winnower with bishop b4. And you do play this. Wonder if he was aware. So e5, c5, and d takes c5. A side variation. It reminds me of d takes c5 in the advanced variation, sort of. When you play against your own opening, you can kind of pick a line that you had trouble against and use it against someone else. I assume that's what you're doing here. This is rarely seen. D takes c5. I'm thinking about where I've seen this. Somewhere not that long ago. It's like... maybe Solstice. It's a Solstice theme day. I think it was a Solstice game that he talked about it in one of his books. Confessions of a Grandmaster. It's a good book. But I'm thinking that's where I've seen it. Not commonly played. It looks like Dominguez. Dominguez has a thing for it. But I think at that point when you start to become predictable, it ceases to be interesting. So knight e7. Is knight c6 a move? Which is the best move for black? What about that? For some reason I feel like I saw knight c6 recommended. somewhere. Knight c6 feels a little more aggressive than knight e7. This seems to be the move. If it's played by Ivanchuk, it's probably right. Ivanchuk, who plays every opening. Bishop d3. So vast majority of games went knight f3. Though I don't see anything wrong with bishop d3. Yeah, it's definitely a Soltis game. And he talked about d4 being a problem in one of the main lines that he was analyzing. Like Soltis had this game that he analyzed in Confessions of a Grandmaster where he like misplayed it or something and his opponent misplayed it as well. There was a key variation where black could have played d4 and should have played d4 and didn't do it. I don't know that book. Gallagher's a good author. Now, d4 has been played 2 times. I swear this is the position from the... Maybe it was different though. Maybe it was knight f3. No, knight f3 is impossible. It has to be bishop d3, otherwise d4 wouldn't be a move. Yeah, that's weird. It looks like d4. d4 is the problem. I think that he talked about this. Exactly. So if you play knight f3 instead, okay, there's no threat for d4. But I also can't remember, maybe in the Soltis game it was knight c6, you know, slightly different position. I'm just thinking, then it wouldn't make sense to play bishop d3 though. You'd have to play knight f3. Anyway, Gallagher, Tal, Shaked. Knight e7, bishop d3, knight on bc6, knight f3, and now we've transposed to some kind of real variation. There it is, d4, a3, bishop a5, b4, knight b4, a b4, bishop b4, castles, bishop takes c3, rook b1, knight c6. So, black is on his own. You know, that's the advantage of playing a side variation like this. I mean, obviously castles, bishop takes h7 resigns. That's the kind of trick that you're hoping for, to get the old bishop takes h7. You can see here that even Hodgson has played it. Interesting variation. h6, number 1 move, stopping bishop takes h7, check, and knight g5. I mean, this alone is a threat, right? Just knight g5 to go knight g5, knight e4 is really nasty. Black's a-pawn is a long way from becoming a queen. Black's just going to get crushed on the king side in the center. So h6 is very logical. I feel sorry for anyone who plays this with black and doesn't know the line, because it does look very dangerous. So he doesn't get mated, but he allows potentially knight g5, although this is hanging. So it doesn't seem like a problem. One of these guys actually played knight g5. And one of them played the more circumspect queen e2, which is what you did. So I don't get it. If knight g5, knight e5, does white have some crushing attack? Zelchich against Barshov. Knight takes e5, queen h5 anyway. Admittedly, it looks scary, but are we threatening knight takes h7 and like knight f6 check? g6, queen h6. This is the game. Pretty complicated. Check this out. Damn. It's a long variation. Queen b8 check. There's a mate on h2, lest you not forget. Rook b7 check, king c6, rook c7 check, king d5. That is sick. Queen b3 check, the king walk continues. Does anyone understand what's happening here? This is just analysis. Wow. So knight c6, queen e2 was also played. So this is apparently like really critical. And knight takes e5 is just insanely dangerous. Queen h5. Queen e7, best move. And then this, threatening knight f6 check. Okay, so you didn't know that, which is understandable. Queen e2, you play like Michael Basman. Controlled Michael Basman. Queen d5. Computer suggestion that you don't understand just simply defends the pawn. I guess it's also against queen a2, sometimes hitting your rook. But not too many people would play rook b5 in this position, honestly. I don't think that, you know, even like Carlsen would play that. But maybe. So let's see. Bishop f4. That's insane. He played a6. You don't know why white doesn't play rook v5, but your opponent played a6. That's crazy. I mean, a6 is a weakening move. I don't really like it for black. I don't understand why he played a6. You know, somebody explain it to me. Like he saw rook b5 and he didn't want to allow it. I mean, what's up, Excel Poker? It's not like his queen is getting trapped. If you take this, okay, rook b5, whatever, you go back here. a6, I don't like. Like you say, h6 is necessary. I don't understand what a6 does. Why is it so important to control the b5 square? Rook b5 is obscure. Yeah, but even the queen takes c5 is not that bad. It's not good, but it's not like losing by force. a6, knight g5. I mean, that alone is devastating. It's like a Slav. Besides the kingside mating threats, you have the threat of knight e4, knight d6. Yeah, he just got wrecked here. There's no way that black can survive this. There is one way black can survive this. If he chops off your knight on d6 quickly, you're threatening to trap his queen. Slight problem. Bishop takes c5, bishop c4 wins a queen. No, it doesn't, because of d3. But you have bishop c5, bishop c4, d3, queen h5, threatening mate in 1. And if g6, queen h6 check. So he has no time for bishop c5. This is an understandable move. And honestly, I mean, at first glance, it looks like black is okay. You have queen f3 or something? It is regarding queen f3. This is nice. I mean, I was thinking about queen f3 directly as well. It might be a strong move. I'm not sure if it makes a difference. If you play queen f3 directly, I guess he could play something like knight d8, perhaps. Probably not going to be enough to save the game, but maybe. Even there, you'd have like bishop g5. I suppose this is strong. This is also strong. Is your move even better? Apparently it's like simpler. F7 theme. Find the weak point. Wow. I play with pieces. You're threatening like bishop h6. Actually, if bishop h6, you could play f5 with black. It's funny. You're actually threatening rook takes b4 and bishop d2. Man. So he has to play maybe f5 in this position. I would try f5. What else is there? This is the only move. f5 or f6. I mean, is f6? I think f5 is better. Can he resist here at all with f5? You take on f6. And then you have something like yeah, I mean, definitely rook takes b4 will be an idea. It looks really brutal. I would think you take here. If he takes back, you know, like the computer, not necessarily even sack the exchange. I wonder if you have a rook lift, like rook b3, rook g3. For example, queen takes f6 check, king g8, bishop takes b4, c5, and then rook b3. Yeah, that's cute. And now here, and you have this nastiness. Some sort of long forced mate sequence. It's devastating. No, nice game. I mean, it's nice to have that side variation. People don't know, you know. It's a good practical choice to play d takes c5. So a true master expert, you know, expert master, whatever, should know what he's doing in that line. With younger players in particular, though, there's a higher chance that they probably don't know the theory of a move like d takes c5. Or someone who just started playing the widower. This variation is not as well known. Good job. All right, WJ Loof. We got 3 games left. Quickly. In honor of someone on sound, octopuses, octopi. Someone on sound is someone on sound. Sorry, WJ Loof is black. He taught it to you. Oh no. This is not the Albin. Whatever it is, though, it's fun. That's new to me. I never seen anyone play the Albin against knight c3, but it's kind of a cool idea. Why the heck not? The best move for black here is actually c5, probably. I like c5. The most aggressive, but okay, maybe not best. Like knight f6 is probably best. But e5 is really wow, dude. That is awesome. It's almost like you're going to play the Black Mardimer reversed or something. But it's not at all quite the same as the Albin. I mean, I think the critical thing about the Albin is that white plays c4. I mean, after this, the c4 pawn really, it costs white time and he has more weaknesses, having made 2 pawn moves versus 1. If you compared this Albin, like this position here, there's more weaknesses. 2 pawns have been pushed forward. There are more weak squares to exploit. if you compare that with your opponent's move, I mean, there's a lot less weaknesses to justify e5 here. It's not as good. You know, it's still fun. We had the England Gambit already. You might as well just freaking play the England Gambit, man. I mean, you might as well just do this, you know. That'll give you more flexibility later. If you're gonna sacrifice this pawn. Alright, so here, the pirate. What's that? Mr. Slowhand, 1,000 for the thoughts in your game. With 3,000, so that's insane. Thank you. It was a cool game. I mean, I think now you're making me want to look at that line with d takes c5. I'll have to find my book, though. My book's in storage in the United States. Confessions of a Grandmaster. I'll just look up Soltis, 1970s. French defense. Okay, d takes e5. Now, I was thinking c6. Maybe you could get away with. But yeah, I mean, d4 seems better. Yeah, now this is your opponent's problem. This is interesting. It's like a win-award variation. You know, this is another line like in the Slav. d4, d5, c4, c6, knight c3, e5. This is called the win-award variation of the Slav. In that line, white takes, you play d4, and white knight goes to e4. But here, after e5 takes, but that's why I was thinking about maybe c6, honestly. Maybe your best. Just don't play the England. Yeah, I mean, I don't recommend it, but if you have to, do it right. After this, d4, so he has to play this, apparently. What's happening, I guess, is like knight c6, something like e3 or c3, quickly. You can't really blame white for missing this move knight b5. I mean, it's a strange position. But it's just kind of like lame. I'm sure knight e4 is better than knight b1. You know, you don't play knight b1 because you want to. You play it because you have to, I think. If you compare it to the normal dunst, knight c3, d5, e4. I mean, even this is a move here. But it's not as good. And you don't have e4 now, so it's forced to go back to e2 or b1. d4, d5, knight c3, e5. Okay, it takes, d4, knight b1. Now you need to develop quickly. You know, if the pawn was on c4, you'd actually be happier. If the white pawn is on c4, we have normal Albin. But the reason for that is that there are more weaknesses, and the pawn on c4 itself can be a target. When I've played white in the Albin, the pawn often comes under attack by bishop e6. a3 is a sensible move. I doubt it's best, but it's reasonable. Grab your pawn back. Okay, it's like an Albin. Now probably e3. e3 or c3. And this just sort of sucks the life out of the position. I would take with the e-pawn. And he has two, you know, potentially good squares at c4 and d3. Open e-file, like an ef caro reversed. I think white should be worried about getting his kingside developed first here, rather than bishop f4. He wanted to take away maybe, actually he's not taking away anything. He wanted to take away bishop d6 from you, but I feel like white should definitely get the kingside developed first. Unfortunately, bishop d6, queen d4 drops a pawn. So it's just a miscalculation. This is better for white. Now for the first time, white is in big trouble. Down a pawn for almost nothing. Also, from your perspective, I think you should just castle kingside. As I said to everybody, and especially Acerbate, if you're up material, I think you don't take risks. You know, probably castling kingside is safer than castling queenside. A pawn isn't a lot of material, but I would still, you know, opposite side castling is a risky thing to do for both sides involved. You're up a pawn here. I would say just castle kingside. You know, 0 risk, excellent chances to win the game. When you do this and you castle queenside, you're like making the result more random. You know, I think that this is playing for unclear instead of slightly better. It doesn't make, ideal sense. It may be more fun, but I realize you can do crazy stuff like h5, knight g4. I don't know. This is fine. I just don't like castling queenside unnecessarily. Not a very dynamic position, even with opposite side castling. And then, okay, I'm a little bit worried about maybe b4, knight c5. You have a corresponding square here that could be good, but knight c5 is really, really problematic. King b8 now, with the idea of bishop c8 may be important. Prophylactic thinking. Can we play this first so that we can meet knight c5 with bishop c8? And you put your king in a position where he has the ability to attack you with impunity. And I think that was a bad practical decision. All right, so knight f4. I realize that your level, like being up a pawn, isn't that big a deal at any level, but especially below master level. But any amount of material that you're up, I think you start to tone down the aggression depending on how much you're up. Queen d2, knight takes d3, trading pieces. That's fine. Queen d3, bishop f5. Queen d2, chop it off. No. I don't know. I'm leaning toward just taking on e4 here. That's a pretty strong knight. Engine likes your move. I think it's safer to do bishop takes e4. You would undouble his pawns. I appreciate that. Maybe it is better. It's a pity though. I mean, the knight is very strong on e4. It also has this square c5. It's much safer to take it. Rook d8 is aggressive. This thing is ominous though. You know, you could lose because of that knight on c5. And I don't know, this isn't a bad idea. Maybe h5, h4. Maybe you can get in on the white squares. But be careful about your king. I don't understand why he's pulling his knight back. It's like a cheapo to play knight f4. His knight is his best piece on c5. And now centralize. And you blundered a tactic on f7. But he could actually lose to mate on g2. That's what happened. I don't know if you did it on purpose. Possibly you lured him into a trap that doesn't work. But this is a hard move to find for white. It's a beautiful move that wins. He avoids the mate and maintains the fork, so he'll win the exchange and win the game, most likely. It almost feels like you try to trick him into it. The truth was after this, like, you're just up a clear pawn. You're up a clear pawn with a perfect structure. Not easy to win. You're not up a pawn, though. It's 6-6 now. All right. Yeah. Not very exciting, but I guess you had no choice. You're practically up a pawn. His double pawns aren't so good. But, man, it feels like you set him up for this, but missed queen f4. And he missed it naturally. He was hungry. He likes material. Yeah, that's beautiful. And no mate. No way to stop the mate. Acerbate. Approved. Mate on G2. Stuk and Acerbate approved this game. My opinion is that, once you win a pawn up, you should castle kingside and just... It's good exercise, too. I mean, everybody should learn how to win a pawn up position. Not every game can be, exciting. I mean, I'm talking from a practical, competitive side. If this game was for rating points, for money in a tournament or whatever, if winning is the most important result, then I think castling kingside is the best move. If having fun and learning and how to play, a complicated game is more important, then okay, castling queenside. But at least you should have this inner dialogue about, where to put the king, in which situation is it better, You should definitely put a lot of thought into which side you're castling there and why. And understand the differences. All right. Slightly fortunate win, but stronger player wins the game. Okay, Blizzard. We had the Blizzard game from Acerbate. Today I played a funny blitz game against... This is not it. Wait. That's not the right one. You got the Anamaya game. Redibon was Anamaya. Where's the Blizzard game? Wait, I'm confused. But I'm waiting for Blizzard's game. Acerbate, did you grab the Blizzard game? Did I grab it? Is Blizzard still here? You're welcome, WJ Loof. Thanks for supporting the stream. Alright, I think this is it. The problem is when I click on this, it's in the wrong tab. How am I going to do this? Maybe I can copy paste it. Copy. I can't copy it. Copy link location. Give me a break. I can just carry it over. Yeah, alright. I think I got it. I just dragged it over into my other browser. So this is Blizzard's game, an England Gambit. Are you kidding me? No, this is the game we looked at. That's Stuk's game. Alright, my bad. That was Stuk's game. But at least I know how to copy and paste it now. Maybe I lost the chat. Is Blizzard even still here? I'm looking for the link to the Blizzard game. Acerbate, you're supposed to copy that over. You're in trouble now. Can anybody scroll back and find that link? It's ages ago. You find it? Copied it 100 times. But this is Redibon's game, right? No, here it is. Alright, cool. Acerbate got it. Mr. B3. So this is 10-minute rapid chess. Knight f3, d5, b3. And this move makes me sick, man, when they play c6. What do you do? That's enough to make me not want to play b3. Or anything, for that matter. It's no fun when people play c6. It's just no fun. God, next thing they're going to be playing the London system. Bishop f5. Bishop f5 is next. So, the only thing you can do is g3 or e3 or c4 maybe. Grandmaster Horvath Yoji was playing some games in the tournament I just played in the GM group. He was inspiring. He would play sort of boring setups with white and still find imaginative ways to win. It's not so easy. b3 is never good. Or always good. The c6 is really tough, though. It's very stodgy and solid. I never know what to do here. I mean, but g3 will just transpose to a ready. So, I mean, if you really want to keep it in some sort of b3 system, this is normal. I saw another game in my tournament I was talking about where someone played like bishop g4 and just traded it off. That was obviously a variation, but I think kind of a concession. I'm not sure I really like that. The London system here, that looks more solid than bishop g4. But Blizzard plays d4, which is unusual. Not too many people are going to play d4. Objectively, I think that it allows black a very solid position. Most players who are hyper-modernists, you know, playing stuff like b3 are not going to play d4 in this position. Mr. Coffee withstanding. I like to play like Schlechter style and take back with the pawn on d3. We're not going to get to see what Blizzard would have done. You're doing the reverse white skin. Yeah. I made him quit chess, I think. With the game he analyzed in the This is how I beat Whiteskin, by the way, like the last game we played. It was Mr. Coffee pointed out that it was some kind of Koltnowski system. It started out. But alright, Castles, he shortly quit chess after losing to me. I can't imagine why. Bishop d6, knight on bd2, castles, no, queen b8. This is smart, man. That's a nice maneuver. Controlling e5. It's outside the box. You see that in the Slav with a6 sometimes. It's possible it's just kind of fancy as well. You know what Mamedyarov would do, right? You're asking for g5, but I'm sort of half joking. I'm not sure, you know, what I would do. I would be reluctant to play h3. I want to play e4 here, but then black will just sit on e4. White does not have an opening advantage. I wondered about g5. Is this a thing? Okay, I guess we have to exchange bishops first. That would give white e4, though. No, there's still no time for this. Alright, now g5 is crazy. I like queen b8, though. h6 doesn't make sense anymore now that the bishop's already like protected by e6. And I like black. I think I still like black due to control of e4. But this doesn't seem consistent. Well, he's achieved something. I mean, he can go knight e4 now. One thing that Blizzard could do is maybe play a4 and try to trade off his bad bishop with bishop a3. This doesn't seem really right to me. Although queen e2 is not a bad move. a6 now, is that necessary? Uh-oh. Suddenly the position is changing. And I don't think it's for the good. Well, I didn't really get Whiteskin to quit. I mean, it's just coincidence that he quit shortly after losing to me, I'm sure. He had finally reached like the point where he was disappointed with his progress and I guess wanted to do other stuff. So this is where like queen back to d8 starts to look like a mistake. I mean, the entire point of this idea was to dominate e5. If black doesn't play that move, by the way, I have a question. Why is black not castling? Can anybody explain that to me? Hello, can you castle? Because I think you should. You need to castle. It's good for your king. You're not going to castle queenside. Playing the ready will make you want to quit chess eventually. It has. I've reached that point, Stook. I have to stop playing that. I have to stop playing a lot of things. The King's Indian attack, the ready. I have to play real openings. So c4, fine. Queen d8 now. And probably he could just go knight e5 right away then. I'm not sure about Blizzard's placement of the queen on e2. I'm over-analyzing this. a6, cd4, cd5, knight e5, and I like white now a little bit. He challenges you. The revolving door. h6 still was totally unnecessary. Later on, it could make a difference if we play f6, get nailed by knight g6. Just that h6 move. Same thing for white. Now there's no f3 because of knight g3. Does black know about the castling rule? That's a cool move. He wants to play f6. It's creative. I just want to be assured of him knowing that it's legal to castle, right? Uh-oh. This is possible. Okay. So black is just like insistent on not castling. And Blizzard starts to play some sensible moves. Knight e6. How about this square? Is that going to be a problem? Can we sacrifice a piece? You know, it's almost looking like we're at some point where we might be able to sacrifice a piece. Check. Okay, we didn't really achieve anything there. An interesting pawn sacrifice. You know, you've got to admit that with the black king a little open and these pawns kind of weak, white objectively probably has fair compensation. There's also some danger here with this diagonal, though. How strong is the opponent is a good question. Melor, 79. He's 2,500, between 24 and 2,500, so it's not a weak player. But I think he's taking too many liberties here against Blizzard. Now he's trying to hold it. f3, knight g3, king f2, bishop d6, trade. Yeah, I mean, objectively it seems like it's equal. And it should be a draw in a perfect world. Both sides have 6 minutes left. Black's up a pawn, but his structure's not great. You might want to say that the pawn up is better, but I mean, that guy's king is not too safe with the queens on the board. Suddenly h7 looks interesting. Wow, so black just lost his mind. I mean, knight takes e2, queen d5 check. It's a problem, actually. This is a problem here. So, still, he has a pawn extra. He can probably give it up. Knight h1 check is difficult to play. I don't think I would be down with that. What if you just exchange knights here? How bad is this for black? Really bad, wow. Queen e6 check. You can't play queen e6, so he has to play here, and then white has this like beautiful series of tactics. Bishop takes s6 check. Jeez. So he literally was like, okay, playing f4. That's a very scary move. And he didn't want to drop his b7 pawn with check. Apparently that would maybe hold on. But again, it's engine and it's difficult to calculate. And now apparently, I guess he thought he had queen c2. But there's f6, and it's mate. Almost mate. Or mate. Maybe he thought he could crawl down in here. He can. I would have played queen f7 too. Wow. That's crazy. I'm not sure I fully understand. Like, e takes f. Knight takes e2. Oh god, it's g4 and queen h4 and queen h6 mate. So that's it. He can't play take the piece back. Wow, and so Blizzard blundered. This is a hard move to find. Pawn takes f4. Obviously this is lost, because now it's like queen f7 check and like bishop f6. That's almost got to be lost. So this is the problem, though. Now it actually looks interesting. And Blizzard bailed out, and the guy got greedy. That's funny. That's funny. It's actually mate in 3. It's unbelievable. It's hard to believe it's mate in 3. If like black... Yeah, that's funny. If black plays queen e1 check, knight takes g3, queen e1 check, king e1. Oh, now it's mate in 9. Wait, mate in 3. Oh, no way. You have some sort of sick mate? Oh no, queen f4 check. Look at that, acerbate. Naturally, Blizzard couldn't find this because he's a human being. Queen f4 check, mate in 3. That's devastating. Queen f4 check, mate in 3. King h5. Knight g3. King g6. That is a weird mate. Like here, here, and here. And also the other variation, obviously. Pawn takes, bishop f6 check. King h5, and then here. It's really cute. It is a nice puzzle. Yeah, this would make a good puzzle. Perfect puzzle. I was just thinking a lot of the lichess problems, they're not puzzles. You know, they shouldn't be called puzzles. They're just positions. Like, they should be called training positions. A puzzle is a very specific kind of position. But this is funny now. The end of the game, he plays this, knight takes g3, black plays this. I was thinking the best move is probably queen e1. See, that's mate in 7. Alright, queen e2, knight e2. Surprising black didn't take here with check on e3. He lost his mind. And then white was just being practical. Up 2 pieces. They went into blitz mode. Finally, a practical decision. Okay, entertaining game though. That was fun. Last game for today is our new subscriber Ready Ban with a game against Maya. This is the game here. WIM Anna Maya. So thanks for subscribing, Ready Ban. Ready Ban is black. Our last game for today, I've got to go, guys. And just a reminder, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Central European time, I'm going to be streaming Blitz and Rapid... No, actually just Blitz, 5+3. Fast Friday, Blitz here 11 a.m. Sorry. Been a long day today. Pawn and I will be here 11 a.m. tomorrow playing Blitz for 2.5 hours. And then Sunday, I have the day off Saturday. Sunday will be our weekly highlight 25 board simul, which I host every Sunday on lichess and Twitch. So please join us for that. Someone on sound, where are you? Our favorite simul player. Well, you're all my favorites, but he loves the simul especially. So Anna Maya, who I don't know anything about, where are they from? WIM from Netherlands. This is maybe not who I thought it was. I'm not sure. But anyway, e4, d6. See you later, WJ Lou. Thanks for joining. Peart's modern defense. g6, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3. This is one of the most common systems for white. Thanks, Mr. Slowhand, for your donation, sir. 3,000 bits. He and Infinite Flash Chess, as well as Jim. We missed Jim today. Now bishop c4. Okay. I don't understand that. I mean, the systems are like f3, queen d2, and knight f3. The 150 attack. These are the three ways. And then you can play like bishop e2 going into a classical by a weird move order. f4 transposing to a weird sort of Austrian attack, I guess. I don't know what that is. But bishop c4 seems like a strange choice. You know, the first thing that you... she might be a men's FM, but I mean, most people... That's a good question. Most people would probably prefer the FM men's title to WIM, but I don't know. It has IM in it, sounds better. Maybe you're right. Bishop c4, like, we usually want to start looking for knight takes e4. I mean, you know, I don't know if you're comfortable with doing this. It depends on the position. But many times, I mean, this is often okay for black. And then maybe the king is safe enough without having a white square bishop. Even if you had to play like h6. But it's a case-by-case basis for doing this. You know, this one doesn't look like... It looks a little early to do knight takes e4. So c6 is a solid move. You actually have kind of double threats. You also have d5. You also have b5. b5, b4. It's a very strange mixing of systems. I mean, bishop e3 and bishop c4. This doesn't look right, you know. You can't do everything. So... Oh, you actually did knight takes e4. Oh my god. I didn't even know. I was just like displaying something. So I had a game similar to this a couple weeks ago where I was able to just play like d5 really fast. That's the other thing. You're threatening d5 now after c6. Let's say white played bishop b3, avoiding d5 and knight takes e4. So Gawain Jones 2017 couldn't beat a 2300. There's a BLAC game from 1972, Hungarian GM, who was a specialist in hypermodern systems. But this is like complex position. Castling is probably okay, but I would prefer something flexible. Yeah. Weird. It's weird. I mean, not too many people have done this. So the 4 games. Very strange mixing of systems. Another idea is a6 for black. What was your move order again? You played knight f6 on move 4. I mean, a lot of people are going to prefer a6 here. If you play the modern defense, this is a very modern. I mean, in the old days, like, everybody would play c6. Never play a6? No, I like a6. a6, if you look at, like, the games of an expert, like my friend Sebe Attila, or a really high-level expert in the Peart's modern, like Ilya Smirin or something. I mean, I really like a6. It's much more active. You have extended fianchettos. I think I like this better than knight f6. Bishop c4, anyway. Knight takes c4, this is interesting. So let's see. She takes here. Obviously, she can play conservative. My fear against a lower-rated player here would be like knight takes e4, d5. In fact, I probably wouldn't even play this against a lower-rated player because after bishop d3 takes, you get like a very, very boring position, essentially. Probably I wouldn't even do knight takes e4 against a weaker player. But anyway, we get a dynamic game now. Bishop takes. This is the problem, though. Knowing where to put the king, knowing whether to play h6 or not. If there's a check on g5, acerbate, should we go king e8 or king g8? Team a5. Where are we putting the king, acerbate? What did we learn today? I mean, it could be bad. If white had time to play c3, queen b3, check, knight g5, we get mated on g8. Not even there, actually. We're probably going to g8. So the engine likes d5 best. Your plan is very natural. I would also consider h6, just stopping knight g5 physically. It's kind of hard for white to attack you on the white squares because she's given up her white square bishop. We go to g8. I mean, I don't mind black's plan in the game. Rook f8. The one problem is h4. This ripping you apart with h4, h5. I doubt rook f8 is a bad move. Always go to the center toward preparing for the endgame. That's true in general, Stu. h4 was best. That keeps her options open. I would think you would play h4, h6, very likely. And the game goes on. If she plays h5, g5, and if she sacks another piece, you pray to whatever god you believe in, and I don't know. I would try it, but that seems like a practical try. As the computer points out, you might have bishop f5. This move is too extreme. I think this move is. So this was the game? No, this is analysis. That was computer analysis. h5 I wouldn't play. I don't want to give up the g5 square. She played knight g5, king g8, and then d5. Which gets control of e6, but it closes this diagonal, which is good. She can't hurt you on that diagonal. It's a fast game. It's blitz. I would want to undermine her center, maybe with c6. We've got this. I'm not even considering bishop takes b2. We need to focus on our own development, So I think I like c6 best. With the idea of this sort of cheap shot, the check on a5. What happens if pawn takes pawn, threatening queen d5 check? Yeah. You might even have queen a5 check. Queen a5 check, bishop d2, queen e5 check. And then take back on c6. You should be okay. So let's see what the engine says for black here. Computer wants to take the pawn, then it changes its mind to c6. c6 is definitely constructive. h6 is possible. But I was hoping to do without h6. So you played h6, knight f3, okay. And then e5, which isn't bad. This isn't bad. Closing the position is probably okay. And now it's like basically a closed King's Indian. You're up a pawn? No, it's equal material. Your bishop is bad. That's the one problem here. When you play e5, you make your bishop bad again. Make your bishop great again. I still like c6. Probably the best. So here, she has some play on the white squares with knight g3 and h4, h5. I was kind of half expecting her to not castle kingside. Fancy move syndrome kicks in with rook takes f3. But it's not a bad move, probably. It's playable. I would think long and hard if this was a long game about rook takes f3. But in a blitz game, it seems as good as anything. Rook takes f3, g takes f, queen h4. Obviously, the knight has to move, but perhaps it's a good idea to get the queen out there before you play knight f6. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting exchange sack. Objectively, I think that it's not clear if it's good or bad. It's an exchange sack. I mean, both sides have chances. Yeah, no, in a practical game, I think it's okay to do rook takes f3 in a blitz game. It would really be a long. I would spend like 10 minutes in a long game, you know, really to think about it. There's no way to break through here. And it's difficult to attack f3. You might want to take time to play b6 to slow it down on the queen side. This might be a good moment. You can't stop it, but you can slow it down. Kind of contain white's play before you do rook f8. Now we need a knight maneuver. You know, what we need is a knight maneuver. Knight g8, knight e7, something like that. Even just knight h5 might be good. We're on f3. Okay, so she misses this. Then knight f4, you know, presumably. And again, it's very hard to say what's happening. You don't really want to trade queens now. You could avoid the exchange of queens, but you don't want to let her take on h5 either, so you probably have to play this. And then, you know, unless you want to sack an exchange, you want to sack another exchange with like rook f4 if you want to be really, really cute. But I think that's a bit too much. But I don't really want to trade queens. Wow. She's not going to get you on g6. But I think now black is better. Though it's not an easy position to play in blitz. Don't really want to exchange on g3. She doesn't seem to have a threat, because when she takes on h5, you're defending g6. So... and her knight doesn't seem to have a good discovery. If you go here, bishop f4, rook f4, what is the next move for white? Knight e2. But knight e2, bishop f5, you have an answer in every case. There's some sort of good move that's winning for black, or almost winning for black. So it looks like this position is critical. Not to play knight takes g3 and fix her structure. After this, and trade pieces as well. White's probably still hanging on. Yeah, that move I was afraid of. Oof. And that's going to be... you're going to win at least the exchange back now. With bishop e4. Now her best is like rook g2. Where that gets mated. Oh man. Rook g2. Well, you just win the exchange back. Yeah, that's her only move. The computer is brutal. It plays queen h4 with the idea of rook h3. That's hard to find. And now you're threatening maybe rook f5, rook h5. draw. I mean, honestly, like, just play b6 and white's paralyzed. She has a move though. She has a discovery taking on e4. Okay, you can't just play b6. So you have to keep that protected or keep the threat alive. Maybe, yeah, maybe you have to play this, then queen trade, rook takes, she takes on a7, and that's a problem. We don't want to lose that. Yeah, the computer doesn't think it's a problem. Okay, b6, what's up with this? Like, bishop takes b6? Ah, so you had this move, bishop d3. So you can just improve your position and then slowly win the exchange back. I didn't see bishop d3. So if you just calmly play b6, white has no constructive move, and then you can go here, allow a trade of queens, take the exchange, and win a pawn up endgame. It's going to take like 3 hours. Yeah, no, it's winning for black, but not easy. Is there something better? The question was, is there something better, like queen h4, bishop a7, rook f5? Not that easy. She's not going to just let you mate her with rook h5, queen h2. That's a massive threat, though. Then white would have f3. You're threatening, actually, bishop f3 now. You could play bishop f3 and e4 and then rook h5. That would be devastating. That's the goal, to get this position. Get in e4, and then it's over. Because of this. Bishop e5, and it's over. Okay, and anyway, really interesting game. The exchange sack is a cool idea. It's really often people jump on these exchange sacks too automatically, but I can't really blame you for playing it in a game like this. It's not a bad move. You have compensation, but it's not the best move. If you weren't up a pawn here, you're not up a pawn here actually. Yeah, I feel like you're up a pawn. You're up the bishop pair. You're just better. Better not to take a risk when you're up anyway, but it's not a bad exchange sack. Okay, guys, I gotta go. It's been a long day. We'll be back on Friday. Thanks, everybody, for the donations and subscribing. Good battle. Friday stream, 11 a.m., Blitz here, and Sunday simul at 6:30 CET. Thanks, everyone, for watching. International Master William Paschall, and the Ponda back on Friday morning. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.